everyone, and welcome to this collective haul for the month of December. It's been a while. I was supposed to film this a couple weeks ago, I didn't. It's like the middle of January. It's fine, this is for the month of December. It'll all work out, hopefully. So I do have quite a bit because I went on a little bit of a shopping spree in December. So yeah, there is going to be no particular order in the way I pick things. It's just going to be as I pick them up. And hopefully, yeah, I hope you all enjoy. And yeah, so let's just start with the first series. So the first series that I have with me today is The Witch and the Beast. So I have 3 volumes of it. I have volume 5, volume 7, and volume 9, which I believe has me caught up, unless I feel like volume 10 came out either very recently or it's coming out soon. But I'm caught up other than that. The last time I got this series, or I had the series in the haul, which I believe was the last manga haul, I couldn't give too much of an explanation because I hadn't actually read it yet, past I think volume 1. Since I have read up to volume... oh my god, what volume have I read up to? I think it's 6. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's volume 6. I have been loving it. I stopped briefly for now, but it is a really amazing dark fantasy series with beautiful art. It follows 2 people working for this magic association. Ashraf and Godot, I believe is how they're pronounced. Godot has a curse on them that has been put on them by a witch, and they want to undo the curse. And Ashraf is kind of just helping them out. It's kind of like a give and take relationship where Godot is working for the association in return for Ashraf helping Godot try and find the witch that put this curse on them. It is just a really interesting action series. I mean, personally I'm not a huge action fan, but I do enjoy the action scenes that are in this series. I don't think they're too much for me, and as I said before, I love the art, I love the characters. They've grown on me a lot throughout the series. In the beginning I was a bit like put off by them, but all the characters that have been introduced have been so interesting. I'm so sad because there's a character that gets introduced for like 1 or 2 chapters and then she hasn't appeared since, and I'm assuming she's going to be important later on. But she's only appeared in like extras at the end, and she's like easily my favourite character in the series, and I'm just so sad that they introduced her just to be like, nope, you don't actually get to see her. She could be in it more for the volumes I haven't read yet, which I believe is 7, 8, 9, and 10, I guess. But yeah, so that is The Witch and the Beast. This would have made my top reads of 2022, it's just that I read this after I made the video, but this easily would have been in it. So yes. Definitely recommend if you enjoy dark fantasy series. And next up we have volume 7 of the Apothecary Diaries. This is a really good seinen mystery series that takes place in like historical China, and we follow Mao Mao, who was originally working as a court maid, but she gets taken on to be a poison taste tester for one of the concubines in the palace, and from there on she uses her herbalist knowledge to solve mysteries that are going on within the palace. And I really enjoy the series. I'm planning on rereading it from the beginning soon because I kind of read ahead online, so I haven't been reading the updates as they come out, and we're getting to the point that I read up to online, so I want to reread from the beginning and then follow with the physical releases from then on. So volume 8, when that comes in, is probably when I'm going to start rereading, but I also have a lot on my list to read at the moment, so it's not a top priority. But definitely recommend if you enjoy mystery series and enjoy a different kind of female protagonist from what you typically see in manga series. So yes, that is the Apothecary Diaries. Definitely recommend. And I guess we'll follow that mystery chain where we have Usotoki Rhetoric. This series did make my top reads of 2022, and that's because I did read it all online in like a week. I wanted to preview it before it came out to know if it was really something I'd be interested in, and clearly it was because I finished it all so quickly. It was just, it's such a good series, and I will be rereading as the physical releases come out. This series follows this girl who I can't remember the name of, Hanako. Hanako. It follows her in 1920s Japan, and she has the ability to hear when people are lying. When people are lying, she can hear this like clanging metal sound, and she can tell that they're lying. Because of this, she was kind of ostracized in her town, and she decided to leave. When she leaves, she comes across this town and meets this detective who discovers that she can hear lies and asks her to be his assistant. And from there on, there's sort of a episodic mystery feel to the series. I adore this series. I really hope more people check it out. I don't know how popular the first release has been, but seriously, this is worth checking out. If you're worried about it being too romantic for your taste, I can assure you there is like barely any romance in it, because it is tagged as a romance online. It really does not have that feel, even though there is like a little bit of subtext, but it's really not the main focus at all. The mysteries are definitely the main focus, and the character development of Hanako, and the art is also super pretty, and I love the setting of 1920s Japan, because I feel like I don't have too many series that are set in that time period in Japan. I have a lot of historical series, but not too many historical Japanese series, which is weird because it's manga. Like, it comes from Japan, so you'd think I'd have more, but clearly I do not. So yes, please check out Usotoki Rhetoric if you enjoy mystery series and want a more episodic feel for one, rather than a long continuous journey. Because I know some people prefer the more continuous ones, but this is a really good episodic one. Next up, we have a series which I've been meaning to collect for a while, but I didn't get around to it, and now feels like the good time to start it. So we have Witch Hat Atelier. I have volume 1 and volume 2. So Witch Hat Atelier is a amazing series, which if you're gonna read any fantasy series, it should be this series. The artwork is so imaginative and creative, on top of just being amazing artwork. Like, the actual like panel layouts within this series are just phenomenal. In terms of actual story, it follows this girl called Coco. I was going to call her Emma. Emma's not a name. Coco, who has this interest in magic and wizards, but the way that wizards use magic is kept a secret, and she basically accidentally peeks, well, I say accidentally, she purposely peeks on a wizard doing magic, and she tries to copy them, and it results in something bad happening, and so she gets taken as an apprentice by the wizard that she copied so that she can fix this mistake that she's made. And from there on it gets more interesting. There's a lot deeper things going on. It starts off kind of lighthearted. I would argue that the thing that she does isn't lighthearted, but it starts off kind of lighthearted. But yes, so this series, obviously I'm talking about it like I know quite a bit, and I have read up to around, I want to say volume 4 of the series, which isn't too much. So the reason I stopped, first of all, I stopped because I wanted to read it physically, because it's just such a good series, and the author seems like a genuinely good person, and you just always want to support series where the author is just a genuinely good person. So I wanted to collect it physically. But I was also having a small issue with the series, which is completely on me. It's not on the writing of the series. And that was just, I was finding Coco's actions sometimes a little bit frustrating, where continuously she does things and doesn't listen to other people, and it was just getting on my nerves a little bit, because every time she did something, it like could lead to a potentially bad situation, and she always got out of it. But it was just like, Coco, like, for once, can you just listen to people? I know you're a kid, I understand that, I get it, but like, please, just once. But I'm assuming she gets better as it goes on, and so I just wanted to take a break from the series, let my feelings of frustration toward Coco, you know, die down before I dived back into it. But yes, no, this is definitely worth checking out. And as I said, that was a very personal issue. It's not actually on the writing in the series. And yeah, so that is Witch Hat Atelier. Next up, I think we're going to do a big chunk of volumes, which is very exciting, so give me 1 second. So I had said I had planned on doing this in December, and I actually did, and that was completing my Noragami collection up to date, aside from volume 25, which I think literally just came out. But ignore the fact that volume 25 isn't. So I got all the remaining Noragami volumes I needed, so give me a second and I will show off all the covers. So we have volume 16, which genuinely my favourite cover in the series. It's so beautiful, and also the star pattern all around, it's just, it's gorgeous. And then volume 17, volume 18, volume 19, which is also a contender for my favourite cover, volume 20, which is another cover I love. Honestly, all of the covers for these volumes, bangers. Volume 21, volume 22, volume 23, and lastly volume 24. I'm gonna get volume 16 because, as I said, pretty cover. So yes, I finally caught up with Noragami, which I have been planning to do, and it was my goal for 2022, and I did do it, so yay! But Noragami is a supernatural, I guess, action series? I was trying to think. It follows gods in Japan, and specifically a god named Yato, who is kind of a no-name god, and he wants to make a name for himself, and so he kind of does odd jobs and things, and it results in him getting entangled with a human named Hiyori, whose soul periodically starts getting detached from her body, which Yato needs to fix because it was kind of his fault. And from there on we follow their kind of, I guess, their story, you know, typical fashion, you follow the main character's story. That makes sense. But it is a really interesting story, especially if you like supernatural elements, like gods, you know, that kind of thing. This is a series I have loved for a long time, and I read the manga up to around volume 22, I want to say, and then I stopped, and now I'm rereading it. with these physical volumes. Now I will say I have been put on hold reading it at the moment because I started rereading it. I have been enjoying it, just to clarify, but there's something else that happened in December, which we will be talking about later, which kind of put off my rereading Noragami plans. But this is next on the list for sure, so I will hopefully be caught up on it by, I don't want to say the end of January, that's too hopeful, but at least the end of February. That's my goal. So yes, that is Noragami. Highly recommend checking it out. You enjoy, as I said, supernatural series that have a bit more of a emotional aspect to them, I guess. So I'm going to follow up with another shonen action series, and this series was also one I had a goal of completing in 2022, and it was put off just by the fact that the volumes weren't really available, so I didn't really focus on it, but hopefully this year will be the year that I'm able to complete it, and that is Seraph of the End. So I did get volume 16, volume 19, which I absolutely love this cover, and volume 24. This one is very similar to Noragami for me, where I stopped reading them around the same point, and I was at around the same volume number, and I really want to reread it, but this one I haven't even started rereading because I don't have enough volumes to. I think I have up to volume 3. Oh no, a continuous run. And then from there I have sporadic volumes that really aren't that many. Majority of them are in the later volumes. These 3 I honestly picked up because I needed volumes for 3 for 2 deals in Forbidden Planet and Travelling Man, and I am fully planning on collecting this series, so I thought why not throw these in. So Seraph of the End, to actually explain what it is about. Seraph of the End is a sort of post-apocalyptic series where this virus suddenly spread on Earth and it killed majority of the people over the age of 13, and vampires use this opportunity to take all the children as kind of like livestock and like blood supply, and we follow a orphanage who have been taken as livestock, and they plan on escaping the vampires and going back to their world, and it doesn't quite go to plan, and our main character Yuichiro basically is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill all the vampires, blah blah blah, and he joins the military formed by the remaining humans. There is a lot of supernatural aspects to this series. There are obviously vampires, there's virus, you've got angels, you've got demons, you've got all sorts of things. But yeah, I just remember really enjoying the series. I guess I really like the aesthetic of it as well. And I'm curious to see what I will think rereading it fully, because I remember aspects of it, but I'm very fuzzy on the details about like halfway through onwards, and that's definitely where it gets a lot more complicated. So I'm curious what my reactions will be to certain things that happen while rereading it. But yes, this cover I absolutely love. So that is Seraph of the End. Let's continue the shonen supernatural genres, I guess, and here I have a volume I was not expecting to get, but that is After School Hanako-Kun. This volume has been out of stock for a while, and I guess they recently reprinted it because I've been seeing it everywhere, and I was like, okay, if I see it on my shopping trip, I will get it, and guess what was on my shopping trip? So I believe this is a collection of short, like, comedic moments and stories. It's not actually plot heavy, it's just moments between the characters, and I really like the characters, and I'm pretty sure I actually have already read it before I bought it. I haven't delved into it at all. I'm waiting for a time where I'm just like, I want something chill and happy, so that will be the plan for reading this. But yes, it is just kind of a spin-off for Toilet Band Hanako-Kun. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about Hanako-Kun because for once I don't have a regular volume of it, so any of my previous hauls, I promise you, I talk about it. And next up, we're delving back into the kind of dark fantasy genre, and here I have the second hardcover edition of The Girl from the Other Side. As you can see, it is still in its plastic because I have not read it yet, despite the fact that this is one of my favourite reads of 2022. The reason I have not read it yet is because I looked at the release date for the third volume, and it's not until I think like March or April, so I'm holding off because I want to savour these. These were so good. So for now, it is in its plastic. I will probably undo it though for this video so you can actually see the contents. But The Girl from the Other Side follows a world where there are outsiders and insiders. Insiders are like your typical human people, and outsiders are more of these monstrous creatures that when they touch an insider they get cursed and become these monstrous creatures as well. And specifically we follow a girl called Shiva, who is an insider who has been left on the outside and is being taken care of by an outsider who we call Teacher. You would think maybe, oh, it's this cute, sweet, wholesome story between this outsider and insider. It is not. It is quite dark and heavy in certain elements of it, and it is incredibly intriguing, and I cannot recommend it enough. The art style is very unique and it perfectly complements the story so well, and I'm so curious where this volume is going to go, considering how the last volume ended. And I said this last time, and I have to mention it every time, these editions are gorgeous, and they're just the most beautiful hardcover editions I think I've seen, to be honest. At least in my opinion. Other people will disagree, and that's completely fine, but these are stunning. Okay, we are changing genres quite a bit now, because I have volume 5 of I Cannot Reach You. This is a BL romance series about two childhood friends, one who has had feelings for the other for a long time, and the other who's kind of realising that he has feelings for him but isn't confident in himself and doesn't really understand why he would have feelings for him. And you know, it's definitely a slow burn, and I enjoy slow burns, and I enjoy childhood friends, and I enjoy pining and stuff, so I have been enjoying this. This volume I did thoroughly enjoy. There was one part I'm not very happy with, which I'm not going to go too into detail because, not even just spoiler reasons, but just because I feel like this is not the video for it. But there's this part in the beginning with, specifically, this guy's sister, who just has some feelings that should not be there, and it's kind of, at certain points, it's put on the same level as the feelings that he has for his childhood friend, and I just don't appreciate that, personally, and I don't think they should be put on the same level. But it could also be seen as just from her perspective, she feels that it's on the same level, which once again, I disagree with completely. But taking that element out, I have been enjoying it. Yeah, I just think it's very sweet and cute. This isn't anything like extraordinary or just like spectacular, but it's just something sweet to read, and I was very excited to read it, and I read it almost immediately when it came in, and I was not disappointed aside from that one thing. Which was very sad because it was the very first chapter and I was like, really? But then the rest of the volume kind of made up for it, so I was okay with it. And I do really, really like this cover. So yes, volume 5 of I Can't Reach You. I think we're going to stay on the LGBTQ+ train for a little bit, and we're going to go with volume 3 of Doughnuts Under a Crescent Moon. I was so excited that I saw this when I was on my shopping trip, because I've been looking for this for ages, and volume 4 is coming out soon, and I really wanted to read these together, as in volume 3 and volume 4, because volume 4 will be the last volume in the series. This is a GL romance series that takes place at a workplace, and it's about a girl who is trying to force herself to kind of date people because she wants to fit in with her friends and other people, and she ends up forming a close relationship with one of her co-workers, and she kind of, you know, starts realising maybe there's something else there, and she starts feeling more comfortable, and it's just a very sweet, wholesome series. I'm hoping volume 3 and volume 4 will not disappoint, because the first 2 volumes just were lovely. I love them very much. And then for the last kind of LGBTQ+ series I have, I believe, yes, I did get volume 1 of Run the Riot. This has been on my radar for about a year now, and I needed an extra volume for 3 for 2 again, so I was like, you know what, I've been meaning to pick up this series, so I got it. This only has 4 volumes, so I probably won't read it until I have all 4 volumes, just because it is short and sweet, kind of similar like I did to Our Dreams at Dusk, which I enjoyed that reading experience, reading all 4 together, so I'm hoping to do the same for this series. As I said, I haven't read it, so I apologise if I get details wrong, but as far as I'm aware, this person on the front is our main character, and they are trans male, and they meet this person here and they form a fashion brand together, and that is all the details I know. I apologise if I got anything wrong, but as far as I'm aware, that is the story. I've heard basically nothing but good things about the series. I've heard nothing about the ending, which concerns me a little bit, but I have heard nothing but good things. So I'm looking forward to reading this and seeing if I enjoy it. And next up we have a manhwa! This is volume 2 of Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion. Nice and short and sweet title, you know. But this is one of my favourite manhwas, and when it was getting an English release, or an English physical release, I was ecstatic, and I will be collecting all the volumes, of course. This follows... It's part of the very specific subgenre of isekai, where someone gets reincarnated into a form of media that they experienced in their previous life. However, the way that this is done is very refreshing in my opinion. So the main character of our series, as a student in Korea, she gets pushed off a building by someone and dies, and she gets reincarnated or gets put in the body of a character called Raeliana from a novel that she read, and in that novel, Raeliana dies at the beginning of the novel to kind of kick off the events of the novel. And so, having just been killed, she's, you know, very adamant not to be killed again. And since she's already read the novel, she knows how she's gonna die, who's gonna do it, and so she meets up with the male lead from the novel. Knowing information from the novel, she kind of, I guess, blackmails him, sort of, into forming a fake fiancé situation so that she can be saved. It it takes a lot of like cliche things but puts them in a refreshing way, and the best part of the series is definitely the personalities of the main two characters and their dynamic with each other. Like it's so playful, and they're very kind of sarcastic and sassy with each other, and you get to watch, you know, that kind of, I guess it's more a rivals to lovers kind of thing. All the other characters are fun, the art is very pretty, I love the setting, I love the small mystery and fantasy elements that get placed kind of throughout the story, and yeah, I just think it's a good overall manhwa, and I hope more people check it out. I know manhwas are kind of pricey because obviously they're in full colour, but this series is also getting a anime, which is amazing, and I never expected that in a million years, so I of course will be watching the anime. I've seen the trailer for it already, or the first PV, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful it's going to be a good adaptation. I really hope so. So yes, why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's mansion. Check it out if you want to try some more manhwas. And next up we have Children of the Whales Volume 13. I can't remember if I said in my last haul that I wasn't going to get any volumes after Volume 12 because I wanted to read up on it, but once again I needed another volume for 3 for 2, and this was there and I picked it up, and I can tell you right now, I did not stick to that rule. I have bought more Children of the Whales volumes and I have not continued reading. But Children of the Whales is a fantasy series that follows this island called the Mud Whale, which I believe is a moving island, and on the island there are those who have magical abilities and those who don't. Those who do live very short lives, and those who don't have regular human length lives, I guess. On this moving island they come across another island, and on that island they find a girl who is the first human outside of the island they have seen on it, and after she comes to the island things get very intense, and their lives kind of change forever is what I would say. It is definitely I say this every time, but it's definitely a 1 to 100 story, and I've only read the first 2 volumes and I'm so excited to see where it goes. I've heard that it is finishing with, I believe, 24 or 23 volumes in Japan, so I think this is the perfect time to start reading it. I do plan on still reading up to about volume 12, and then from there I might slow it down until the final volume comes out in English, but we will see. Maybe I'll just binge it all, and who knows. But I am looking forward to reading this series, and I don't know why I'm putting it off so long. Actually I do, it's because I have other things that I'm reading. But seriously, I am so excited for it. And then we have Volume 9 of Moriarty the Patriot. This is a series that I probably should have done with Usotoki Rhetoric and the Apothecary Diaries, but you know, it doesn't matter. This is a mystery series which has this very similar vibe and tone to Death Note, that is set in 1800s London, and it is a reimagining of the Sherlock Holmes novels from the character Moriarty's perspective. I adore the series. It's just so... It's so good and fun, and I don't want to say it's a better version of Death Note because that's obviously quite a tall order, I guess, but personally I enjoy it more. Maybe it's the historical aspect because I do like my historical series. I think it's also the fact that I'm actually rooting for the Moriarty side rather than in Death Note. I was definitely rooting more for the L side, but in this one I'm rooting more for the Moriarty side, just because they are trying to use crime to abolish the hierarchy system present in Britain at that time, and it's just basically eat the rich, the manga, and I enjoy that concept, you know? Next up we have The King's Beast Volume 8. Yeah, this is a volume. This series is a fantasy historical romance series which follows Rangetsu, who is a species called Ajin, and she has infiltrated the palace, becoming a servant because her brother was taken to the palace when he was young and was killed, and so she wants to discover what happened to him and who basically killed him. That was a very, very rushed explanation, and that's just because I just need to talk about this volume. So the last time I had the series, which I can't remember if it was last haul or not, Volume 7, I said I wasn't very happy with the volume. I didn't really enjoy it. I enjoyed the direction the story is going, I didn't enjoy the way certain things happened. And Volume 8 was kind of like a continuation of that, where I'm very disappointed because I genuinely love the way the story has gone, like the direction the story has gone, but the actual like storytelling and narrative, it's not enjoyable for me. I really dislike the way Reitoma tells stories, and I discovered this when I read Dawn of the Arcana. I discovered it when I read The Water Dragon's Bride. I didn't enjoy the way that she told her stories, but I read The King's Beast and I was enjoying it for the first I'd say up to 5 volumes, I was like fully enjoying it. I enjoyed it very much. Volume 6, I was like, this is a bit questionable, but you know, it's fine. Volume 7 completely just went downhill, and Volume 8 has continued on that track. And I have a feeling it's not gonna go back up. I just have a feeling. Any type of suspense or climactic like value in the series is just lost the moment certain things happen. I can't go into more detail without actually like spoiling what happens, and I definitely don't want to spoil. For me personally, it's not it. The way the story is told is not it. And maybe it's because a lot of the people who are reading this series are more romance focused, and I was more interested in the kind of mystery aspect, and it just feels like that was always pushed to the side, but it's like especially been pushed to the side, even though it feels like with what's happening at the moment it shouldn't be pushed to the side. I just feel like I'm rambling now, and I apologise. I am going to continue it. I'm going to continue it till completion. I will do it, and I'm hoping it does pick up, because at the very least I do like the relationship between the main character and the male lead. At the very least, I like that. That's kind of the thing that's kind of keeping me going. I will shut up now about the King's Beast, but I don't write it off just because of my opinions on it. I know a lot of people do like it, so yes, that is the King's Beast Volume 8. And last up, we have the most exciting series in this haul, in my personal opinion, and that is Yona of the Dawn. And why is this so exciting? Because I have finally, officially, caught up with Yona of the Dawn, and I'm so happy about it. If you can tell from the shelf behind me, I'm a big Yona of the Dawn fan. This was a series that initially started me collecting physical manga again. I just really wanted to own this entire series physically, even if I didn't collect any of the series. I just really badly wanted Yona of the Dawn, and I finally did it. I finally had it all. So I did get volume 7, volume 13, volume 15, which has one of my favourite covers. I absolutely love Yona and Lily. The most recent volume, volume 37, and I believe the next one doesn't come out until like March or April, which is a bit sad. I'm gonna hold this volume up because I love it very much. So Yona of the Dawn needs no introduction, but I shall explain anyway. Yona of the Dawn is a historical fantasy action political romance series, I guess is how you would describe it. And it follows a fictional country and the princess of that country, Yona, who is very spoiled and sheltered, and due to certain events she is forced to leave the palace, and she discovers what her country is really like. I adore this series so much. There's just so many elements that make it enjoyable, and I'm just completely ecstatic that I have it all finally. And the thing that I've been alluding to this entire video that I've been reading, it was Yona of the Dawn. I am rereading Yona of the Dawn at the moment, and I'm currently, where am I? Volume 28. I've read up to volume 28. I was planning on rereading Noragami first, but I could not hold off, because I've been wanting to reread Yona of the Dawn for at least like 6 months, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it until I get every physical volume, and I've got every physical volume, so I'm doing it. I'm rereading it, and I'm enjoying it just as much, if not more. Every time I reread it, it just reminds me how much I love the series, and why I love the series so much, and why I love the characters so much, and the setting, and the art, and it's just, it is gorgeous. I know it's talked about a lot, and it could potentially be considered overhyped. In my opinion, definitely lives up to hype, if not makes it even better, and it just continuously gets better throughout the series. Like, I hate being the person that's like, oh, you need to read up to this volume for it to get good, and that's definitely not it with Yona of the Dawn, but it is one of those series where the weakest point is at the beginning, and it just continues to get better, but that doesn't mean the beginning is bad at all. It definitely does not. Sorry, I feel like I rambled, but I'm just incredibly happy that I finally have every volume of Yona of the Dawn. It's so exciting! I completed 2 series in this one, and like 2 long series, not just like short 4-volume series. And on that note, that will be the end of this haul. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry I rambled so much. I know I normally ramble, but I feel like I especially rambled in this video, so I apologise. But I seriously hope you enjoyed. I hope you stay happy, stay healthy, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!